morning, welcome back to another episode of Real Aussie Adventures. We are currently just leaving El Questro station, as you can see, going through the deepest water crossing in the station, and then we're headed onwards to finish up our time here looking at some of the other gorges and sites. Should be a really good day. Yeah, that's the plan. Let's go. We've already arrived at our first destination, which is Trecherous waterhole. It is a little bit too cold for a swim, so I'm really glad that we can't swim because of the risk of crocodiles. But it is really nice to look at. And I guess it's now onwards. We're on the first proper walk of the day. Just saw this. That wasn't there at the other ones, but hey, we'll take a look. Let's go. We made it to Emma Gorge. Definitely worth it. It's a huge little pond. But look at the views. Huge cascading waterfall that would probably be super heavy during wet season. But otherwise, I reckon I'm hot and ready for a swim. I think we have the best spot in the whole of the Turquoise Pool, because this right here behind me is a thermal fed waterfall rock pool. So I'm just sitting in here hiding away from absolutely everyone and everything in my nice warm pool. But otherwise, this is the gorge. We finished Emma Gorge, which means that we've done basically everything that we could do at El Questro. Very exciting. Happy now. Gonna wander back to the car, see about having a shower if there are showering facilities here, and then travel onwards to Wyndham. Very excited, very fulfilled, and I was wet when we first left, and now I'm basically bone dry, so could definitely use another swim. But it's a great day today and lots of fun planned ahead. Just before we've gone to go have some brunch, I decided to reinflate the tyres so that we don't have to do it later. I don't want to do it now, and I know I'm certainly not going to want to do it later, so I figured I may as well get it out of the way. We're off on our first adventure outside of El Questro. We did Emma Gorge, went for a lovely swim, had a shower, and now we had some lunch as well. And now we're just outside of Wyndham. Well, by just outside, I mean a couple of k's down the road. And we're gonna go check out the grotto. So, looking forward to that little wander. clambered down the maybe 144 steps. I'm not sure, I wasn't counting. I'll count on the way up. Down to the bottom. Definitely looks like people would swim here. Personally, I wouldn't. That water doesn't really look very inviting. But yeah, it's crazy to think that it's super duper deep as well. Up to 100 meters deep. And we're already at the bottom. So, yeah. Nice though. Quaint and peaceful. Back to the car and then onwards to Wyndham. So we did it. I counted 137 steps. So a little further off than 144. But I've just been alerted to the fact that maybe I missed some.
Yes. Some of the smaller rocks, natural ones, may have been counted as steps, and we were only counting man-made steps. So. And she also cut the corner of 2 stairs.
Maybe. Well, we came and saw Wyndham's big crocodile. I can safely say he is big and he has fun feet. Look at his toes. I think they're really fun. I just think he's really cool. Look at those toes. Look at him. He's so much fun. But unfortunately we can't climb on him. Made it to the 5 River Lookout. It was quite the drive up. You'll see in the time lapse going down that it was quite steep, quite turny, twisty, twindy. So that's that. But we made it up the top. There are some placards to have a read. Found out that Wyndham is actually is the hottest town in Australia. The maximum average daily temperature is 36 degrees and it is the middle of winter for Australia, according to, I guess, English seasons, and it is 33 degrees today. There is, however, a nice breeze, but that's that. Like, it's 33 degrees in the middle of winter. Dry season though, so yeah. Went for a visit out to Molly Springs. The road was as rough as the reviews said, but it was well worth it. It was a lovely little, tiny little wander out there. And now we're waltzing back to the car and headed onwards and inwards to Kununurra. So I have taken an absolute road to nowhere to try to look for this elephant rock, which we've found, but it's been really interesting because I've actually managed to see turf farms, so where you get your lawn they are growing that right here. That right there, that's Elephant Rock. That's the best view I can get of it. And then on this side, a little bit further down, is actually a cotton farm. How crazy. Like, I will see you in Kmart in like 5 months' time, but just looking a little different, that's all. Well, I made it to Sleeping Buddha Rock. That's the best view I can get. And I don't know if I can really see it.
The head, the belly.
Just been told that that is the head and that is the belly.
And the legs are coming down.
Anyway, now we're onwards to the final, I guess, look, which was just to see on the map, which is the little beach. I don't know if I really call it a beach if it doesn't actually connect straight to the ocean. And then we'll go get some groceries and then see what's next from there. I made it to the swimming beach. I wouldn't call it a beach, I'd call it like a lake or something. But it is spectacular with the sunset over the background. Look at those colours and just the black of the landscape. Chef's kiss. Beautiful. We just had our first experience with humbugging, and I have never shaken more in my life. Like, not at the time. At the time it was just kind of like, where's Jacob? Like, I don't particularly want to be alone in this whole situation right now while this person's like coming up to us and talking. And like, there was a whole bunch of them just running past, screaming, you know, doing all of that stuff. And of course we didn't quite manage to lock the car in time, so we were all just like, it was very stressful driving out. And Jacob's like, where's my wallet? And he was like, I left it in my bag. Like, I put it in my bag this morning and he couldn't find it, he couldn't see it. Like, he was just feeling like, you know, doing that kind of motion, couldn't feel it, like, you know, checking and like, it's not there, I can't see it, and really, really worried because it was like, but like, you know, no one would have seen it because I was standing right there. Like, they wouldn't have been able to get into the car without us hearing it, because I would hear my car door being opened. I reckon. Like, I know the sound of my car. I know all of that stuff. Like, my car is my firstborn child. Of course I know these things. And anyway, so we're driving and I'm like, I'll stop, I'll pull over, have a look. So we get out the car, he looks in his bag, he cannot find it. And he is like, what if one of these people has taken it? Like, what if one of these humbuggers has taken my wallet? Like, what next? And so we put the card on a temporary lock. Of course, his debit card's in there. And it's like, well, yeah, but like, the debit card's one issue, but the second issue is like all the rest of the cards, like the rest of your ID, like the makeup of who you are is in there. And he also went on to say there was about $200 in there, so you know, you wouldn't want that. And then I said to him, wait a minute, you gave me your wallet this morning so that we could buy a national parks pass for the Northern Territory. And he was like, yeah, that's right, I did. So now the ball's on my shoulders, and I'm like, and he's like, you didn't give it back to me. And I'm like, no, I didn't. Where did I put it? And then I went, wait a minute, I put it in this bag, this little bag right here, which has a charger cable in. It had his wallet in, and it was squashed underneath, you know, like squashed down in there. Picked it up, and it's nothing, like the wallet was there, and instantly the weight on our shoulders and my hands stopped shaking and everything. And but yeah, that is the story for this evening. Definitely not staying in Kununurra tonight, because the guy was like, oh, you know, I'll see you around town, like, you know, I'll see you tomorrow morning and everything. And it's like, great, Now there's a big arrow on our heads. You are going to look for us. Look for us. So we can't stay here tonight. So we'll probably cross the border and then get into the Northern Territory. I mean, it's fine, but now we can't stay here. So, yeah. But anyway, that's story time for you. Currently sitting in the fuel station, fueling up because I had 80 Ks remaining in my tank. But yes, whew, that's the story time for this evening. But we did do some shopping. So we've got some meat and more eggs and other things that we needed to top up on. Life is good. Feeling better now that we found your wallet?
Very much so.
Yeah. Well, we have just crossed the Northern Territory and Western Australian border. Well, we made it into the Northern Territory. The time right now that I'm used to is 7:30, so it's about bedtime anyway. But the local time is 9:30, so a more reasonable time for bed. But watch me actually end up going to bed local time at like 6 p.m. Ready for tomorrow. I'm tired, very tired, and hopefully stressing less. Oh, I never want to live that experience again. I'm now super duper paranoid that all of the stuff is in the car that should be in the car, even though I don't think anyone went through it. It's just that thought and that feeling and everything. But yes. Also, I was super surprised. I knew the maximum speed in the Northern Territory was different to Western Australia's maximum speed, which is 110, but I wasn't expecting the very first road that I crossed, like into the Northern Territory border, to say the speed limit was 130. 130! I can't do that. Anyway, thank you for joining me on another episode of Real Aussie Adventures. I will catch everyone nice and early tomorrow morning. I just want everyone to know right now that up northern end of Australia, croc danger is real. There's a croc on the lawn.